You think you have time. You think 60 is the new 40. You think because your doctor says you are doing well, and you can still carry your groceries and remember your grandchildren's names, that you have decades stretching out in front of you. You don't. I am 92 years old. I have been alive since Franklin Roosevelt was president. I have buried my husband of 63 years. I have buried my parents, 2 siblings, and more friends than I can count without looking at old Christmas cards. And I am telling you this as plainly as I can. Your 60s are not the beginning of ease. They are your last wide-open window before things begin to narrow. Your body will narrow. Your circle will narrow. Your independence will narrow. Your time will narrow. And everything that comes next is harder than you think. I spent 38 years as a high school guidance counselor in Pittsburgh. I believed in planning. I believed in preparation. I believed that if you made smart decisions and saved your money and loved your family well, the later chapters would unfold gently. When I turned 62, I felt strong. I could walk 3 miles without thinking about it. I could carry heavy grocery bags up the stairs. I could get down on the floor to play with my grandchildren and stand up again without using my hands. My mind was sharp. My marriage was steady. My life felt manageable. I thought I was prepared. I was not prepared for my body to begin betraying me in small, quiet ways that no amount of discipline could fix. I was not prepared for the slow erosion of strength. I was not prepared for friends to begin dying faster than I could process each loss. I was not prepared for my husband to collapse in the plumbing aisle of a hardware store on a Tuesday afternoon while I was home writing a grocery list. He was gone in 45 minutes. 63 years together, and then a phone call. I was not prepared for a stroke at 84 that would take what was left of my independence and move me into my daughter's home. So this is not advice from someone who mastered aging. This is advice from someone who wishes she had been warned at 62. If you are in your 60s, listen carefully. When I was 62, walking 3 miles felt effortless. By 75, walking a mile felt like something to be proud of. By 80, stairs required planning and pauses. By 84, my left side stopped cooperating with my intentions. Here is what no one says clearly enough. The muscle you lose after 60 is extremely difficult to rebuild. The bone density that slips away does not come back. Balance, which once required no thought at all, becomes something you must consciously manage. If you do not build strength now, while your body still responds, you will spend your 80s trapped inside a frame that refuses to do what your mind still wants. I watch my great-grandchildren run across the yard. I remember when I could run like that. I remember when my back did not ache, and standing up from a chair was not an athletic event. That woman feels like someone I once knew, not someone I still am. If you are 62 and you can still walk 3 miles, walk 3 miles. Lift things, Climb stairs, stretch, build muscle. You are not exercising for today. You are exercising for 20 years from now, when you will need every ounce of strength you can keep. You also need more friends than you think. I had 3 close friends I met for lunch every Tuesday for nearly 40 years. We called ourselves the Tuesday Girls. We raised children together. We survived divorces and cancer scares and the deaths of our parents together. I thought those friendships would last until the end. Barbara died at 75, Eileen at 81, Margaret at 87. I am the only Tuesday girl left. I did not make new friends in my 60s because I thought I had enough. I assumed the women who knew me at 35 would still be sitting across from me at 85. Now I am 92, and most of the people who remember my youth are gone. My daughter is kind. My grandchildren visit when they can. But it is not the same as having someone who remembers what you were like before your hair went gray, before your husband died, before your hands began to tremble. Make new friends now, younger friends, older friends, people from your church, your gym, your neighborhood, your book club. Cast a wide net. You have no idea who will still be here in 20 years. The loneliness of outliving your world is something I would not wish on anyone. Have the conversations about death and money while everyone is still healthy enough to speak clearly. When my mother had a stroke at 89, she could no longer talk. She lived another 3 years, and we had no clear instructions. We did not know what treatments she wanted or where certain documents were kept. My siblings and I argued. We guessed. We made decisions in the dark. I swore I would not do that to my children, and yet I delayed the conversation because it felt morbid. It felt premature. It felt like inviting death into the room. Death does not need an invitation. I finally sat down with my children at 74 and told them where everything was, what I wanted, what I did not want. I should have done it at 64. Clarity is a gift. Confusion is a burden. Give your children clarity. Retirement will not save you. It will expose you. For 38 years, I was Mrs. Costello, the guidance counselor. I had purpose. I had students who needed me. I had colleagues. I had structure. I retired at 70 and felt like I disappeared. No one needed Mrs. Costello anymore. I was just Lorraine, an aging woman with no particular role. It took 3 long years to build a life that did not depend on a title. 3 years of feeling restless and unnecessary before I discovered that I loved watercolor painting, volunteering at the library, and having lunch with my daughter for no reason at all. If your career is your entire identity, you are walking toward a cliff. Start building something outside of work while you still have work. Develop hobbies, deepen friendships, find interests that have nothing to do with your paycheck, because one day the title will vanish and you will be left with yourself. You have fewer healthy years with your spouse than you think, Anthony and I were married for 63 years. That sounds like an eternity. It was not. The early decades were full of work and raising children. Then there were years of strain and rebuilding. It was not until our 50s that we truly settled into a steady, joyful marriage. And by then, we had perhaps 10 truly healthy, adventurous years left. Years when we could travel easily, stay out late, say yes to invitations without calculating energy. After that came the doctor's appointments, the medications, the slow narrowing of what we could do together. I would give anything to sit beside him again, even if he were in a wheelchair. But I wish I had understood in my 60s that the window for adventure was already closing. Take the trip now. Say yes now. Do not assume unlimited healthy years. Forgive sooner. My brother Frank and I stopped speaking for 8 years over pride and money and a disagreement about our mother's care. I was convinced I was right. I was waiting for him to apologize. He died at 79. 8 years of silence that can never be undone. If there is someone you love and you are not speaking to them, call today. Pride is a terrible thing to cling to when time is this fragile. Your adult children do not need your advice as much as you think they do. I spent much of my 60s offering guidance. After all, I had decades of experience helping teenagers navigate life. Surely my own children would benefit from that wisdom. They did not want my corrections. They wanted my presence. Every time I offered unsolicited advice, I was quietly telling them I did not trust their judgment. It took me years to learn to listen without fixing, to show up without steering. If you want a close relationship with your adult children, practice restraint. Let them be adults. Write things down. You will forget more than you expect. Birthdays, stories, small details that once felt permanent. I began journaling at 78. I wish I had begun at 60. There are entire seasons of my life I can no longer recall clearly. Conversations that evaporated. Memories that existed only inside my head and now are gone. Write down your stories. Write down what you want your grandchildren to know about who you were before you were old. You are going to be afraid, and many of your fears will come true. I feared losing Anthony. I lost him. I feared losing my independence. I lost much of that too. I feared living long enough to watch everyone disappear. Here I am. Everything I was afraid of happened, and I am still here. Loss changes you. It diminishes certain parts of you, but it does not erase you. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is continuing despite it. And finally, understand this clearly. The last 30 years go faster than the first 60. When you are young, everything is new and time feels wide. When you are older, the seasons blur. A decade can pass in what feels like a breath. I blinked and I was 70. I blinked and I was 80. I blinked and I was 92, sitting in my daughter's living room, looking at a photograph of my husband on the shelf. I talk to him every night before I fall asleep. I tell him about the grandchildren. I tell him I miss him. He does not answer, but I keep talking anyway. That is what love becomes at the end, a conversation with someone who is no longer there. If I could sit across from my 62-year-old self, I would take her by the shoulders and say this: "It goes faster than you can imagine. Say I love you. Take the trip. Make the call. Forgive the grudge. Build the strength. Make the friends. Have the conversations. One day you will be 92, looking back, and you will not be counting promotions or square footage or the number of hours you worked. You will be counting moments. You still have time, but not as much as you think."